Hi there. I have opinions, and my opinions wait until Saturday afternoons. I'm filming this late. I have been very tired this week. I've been house sitting for my parents, hence the religious iconography and bootlicker iconography. Now, I'm not going to get back into the controversy. I'm going to talk about something else that I've been trying to... This is my third time trying to film this. This is about the Apathetic Left. I did have a script for this, but I have a couple shots of vodka in me, so I'm going to just freestyle it and let editing Leah figure it out. I'm over 21. Don't drink underage because you might get in trouble with cops. I honestly don't have a problem with it until you're 18, but, laws. Anyway, one of the big problems I have about the dirtbag left is that they tend to be, huge killjoys. And not only are they killjoys, but they're this weird kind of killjoys where they neg you, and they're like, oh, I don't care. You can do all these things, but I just don't care. You got your Peter Coffins, you got your Natalie's, and actually, I'm gonna let Natalie explain why this is so prevalent to people who are super into breadtube right here.
Plato and Aristotle and the meaning of life, and I thought, on the left, we don't really talk about that kind of thing. All we talk about is how society oppresses people, and that might not be enough, because people need to have a positive purpose in life. I mean, personally, I don't give a shit. I'm pretty happy to sit here watching the same 3 seasons of Strangers with Candy until I die. But other people, like Dostoevsky, Camus, other white guys who talk about lobsters, they have this need to have purpose in the face of suffering and not just complain about patriarchy. I guess it's easier to not complain about patriarchy when patriarchy isn't the thing that's making you suffer, but I do think that an education that only teaches people about oppression is inadequate. We spend 4 years teaching undergraduates why capitalism is bad, and then we say, well, you're educated now, good luck getting a job under capitalism, bye! And that really kinda sucks. But I think that's a point that could probably be made without comparing transgender activism to Stalin.
So, yeah, that's something that they've been contributing to a lot. And, yeah, that's kind of an issue with the whole thing because these people only treat YouTube like it's a teaching tool and not like a praxis tool. And I know that I'm the last person to talk about praxis because I am a university student. But what I'm going to be talking about is why I really don't like these people that just don't care about anything. So pretty much my issue is as thus. These people think that the only way to inspire leftism to have an actual genuine form of leftism is to have an all-out revolution instead of building solidarity first and then working your way up from there. Nobody's going to spontaneously combust into revolution. Nobody thinks that. Really, what a lot of people do with this is by having, smaller things that bring people's attention to capitalism. I don't really do straws. I have a silicone straw that I got from my county conservation district. I obviously have no problems with other people who use plastic straws, especially the disabled people that they are incredibly important for. And I don't eat fish, I just don't like the taste, and half of the plastic in the ocean is from industrial fishing practices, which is a really big deal. If you want to stop plastic from entering the oceans, really, before you start making people feel like shit about themselves for being disabled, you should honestly just skip on the tuna unless you're a member of a specific community whose cultural identity is tied pretty closely with sustainable fishing. Like whenever people talk about Inuit tribes who, fish and catch seals, that's sustainable. That's not what's causing the problem. But people like to make those people feel like shit. They're not the ones I'm talking about, just to be 100% clear. But making little everyday little changes in your life, like cutting down the meat you eat, or even going vegetarian, it helps you and others around you become more aware of the situation. Nobody thinks that going vegetarian is on their own is going to immediately save the planet, is immediately going to end capitalism. Nobody thinks that, but you get these people like Peter who have gone on these giant Twitter screeds about how much veganism or vegetarianism won't end capitalism. That's not the point. The point is to build solidarity among people who want to make these everyday changes in their lives, because once you start making these everyday changes in your lives, you can start to build solidarity. And I think that these people just don't understand any of it. I am not vegetarian yet. I'm working at it, but my school has disgusting vegetarian food, and my dad refuses to eat a meal if meat is not a major part of it. So that's my issue with it. So what do we do from here? Now, I've seen a lot of people say that breadtube isn't for organizing, breadtube isn't for building practices, but it really should be. I mean, whenever you talk about all this crowdfunding that's been happening nowadays for disabled people, for trans people, for people who need medical treatment, why can't we just do that why can't we just organize by sharing our own experiences? And instead of talking about, Max Stirner for an hour, or instead of talking about Mark Fisher for an hour, or whatever other old dead person that you prefer, why don't we talk about how it can apply in our daily lives? This November, I have a thesis due, and I will be presenting it to you guys. I will be talking about the loss in albedo over Greenland over the past 20 years. I will not be sharing the paper itself because it has my real name on it, and I don't want to ruin this for me, but I will talk about, how I did that, how I use Earth Explorer, and whenever I take my GIS class next semester, I'm going to be talking to you all about how to use GIS, especially in those counties where there are concentration camps. Now, this isn't to talk about, immediately having, violence, but this is a way to talk about sharing our skills for a bunch of people that are spread out across America, across North America, across the world. We really want to build solidarity online so it can spread out more, because apparently in DSAs, all anybody ever talks about is breadtube, and that's been spreading into real life. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is around because Kyle Kulinski of the Young Turks started Justice Democrats. So why isn't that something that we can do? We can start a movement online that has actual real world applications instead of complaining about capitalism nonstop. But those are just my thoughts. I want to hear what other people say about, these thoughts, and I forgot how much of a lightweight I am. I want to hear about what you people all have to say. And if you have something to contribute, do it. I'm shooting on a Moto Power. There's a reason why my sound quality and video quality isn't the best, but You can start from anywhere as long as you're teaching. And I will be contributing to the talking about theory for like an hour straight, because soon I'm going to be starting a series where I talk about Marxist-Leninist texts and dissect them through an anarcho-syndicalist framework. And I'm starting with What is to be Done by Lenin. And now we don't have time to talk about all of that. I am 4 pages in and I've already written 1,000 words about how awful this is. But my thought is to try and be productive with all of this. And I want to see how other people want to be productive with this. All right, I'll see you next Saturday. Hopefully I'll have the snakes with me. I couldn't have them with me this time because one of the people at the county recently quit, and my boss has been doing all of his inspections and doing interviews for the new open position. So it's more of like a next week thing. But I hope to have them out next time. I promise. All right, bye.